Sessions, the podcast.
All right, welcome to another episode of Entrepreneur Sessions. I'm your host, Jennifer, and here's my co-host, Mario.
Hey, how's it going?
And we got an amazing guest in the building today who's a wealth of knowledge. If you don't watch any episode, you need to watch this episode because it's going to be a really, really good one. Stephen Floyd has been he's been a search engine marketer for over 15 years. And in 2004, he ranked his website, gurus2go.com, as the number one globally for the keyword computer repair. So he held that number one position for nearly 4 years. And if you guys understand SEO, you understand what amazing feat that is. And, the company was sold for over $1 million. So without further ado, everybody help me welcome Stephen Floyd.
What's up, man?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be here. It's a huge honor to be here with you today.
Man, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you taking the time to get here, man. It was awesome. Kind of a quick backstory, so I've been knowing Mr. Floyd for a while. We worked a couple of projects and randomly ran into the gym, I guess it's about a month ago. And that's kind of what sparked up the conversation. Like, hey, come on the podcast, man. You got so much knowledge that, a lot of people who watch our podcast could really, benefit from all the things that everything from branding and so forth. And I'm not going to spill the beans, but yeah, I'm glad you're here, man.
It was fate. It was fate that y'all ran into each other because
right?
This information is so timely. So it's going to be a good conversation.
Man.
Yeah.
And so, let's get started, man. So first question, tell us a little bit about your entrepreneurship background and how you ended up ranking as number one globally for the keyword computer repair.
Well, again, appreciate y'all having me here. It's a huge honor. So, I've got a long story. I won't make it long, obviously. Out of high school, I went straight into the Army. Came out of the Army, first job out, worked for Microsoft, actually supported Windows 95, and yeah, that dates me pretty good. So I worked in technology for a while, and I got to a point where I had my own company, and I was going to businesses and homes, basically doing anything they needed, computer-wise, right? Any kind of repairs, networking. I was certified in like everything. Like, it's ridiculous if you saw my resume for that. I love tests and things like that. I'm a certification junkie. I'm a knowledge junkie. I'm an education junkie, for real. If you saw my resume, you'd laugh. You think I was doctoring it, for sure. But so one of the companies that I was doing work for was this company called Gurus2go, and I was their top guy, right? Like, I was their top kind of fixer guy. And the owner said, is there any chance at all you consider coming on board, closing your company and joining me in mine? And so we had several meetings. I said yes, and so it's so funny now. So it's like Geek Squad, right? But what we did was we did Geek Squad with Uber. Is what we did. And we're the first ones to do that. So, we had a base of about 18,000 people nationwide who signed up to work for us as subcontractors. So customer would type in computer repair. We were number one. They would come in, they put in a work order. It would go out and be offered to all the techs that were in whatever area they were in. The tech that wanted it would go take it, would go there in a non-branded uniform and non-branded vehicle, do the job on our behalf, sign an invoice with our logo on it. Wow. And so because we use subcontractors and not employees, we could destroy the competition. They had no chance. No other competing company could compete with that. We could be anywhere in the U.S. within an hour, anywhere except a few places. I have lots of stories I can tell you about that too. One of them is near Roswell. So we can't be there within an hour, but we actually did a job there. We did a job at a top secret.
Hello.
Yeah.
Was that flying saucer when you were?
Allowed to say. But anyway, so I knew absolutely nothing at all about search engine marketing when I joined that company. I was totally an IT guy. So I did, I said I'm a voracious learner. I joined every forum and every online group. I'm not kidding. I literally bought like probably every course that was available in SEO, read every article, and I just started testing. And then that's when God showed up. One of the times God showed up. He shows up all the time. That's one of the times it was real obvious. Because I found the formula. I found the right the right people, the right training, had the right information, executed on it, and was just killing it. We went from being nowhere on Google at all to being number one globally. And when I say globally, let me clarify that, because this doesn't even exist anymore. It's impossible. back then in 2004, there was only one Google. It was google.com. Now every country has its own Google, right? There's google.es, which is Spain, right? There's google.com.au, which is Australia, right? There's, I don't know how many different Googles. But back then, no matter where you were in the world, you could be in Hong Kong, you type in computer repair, we were number one, which led to some interesting, things, right? we had to solve that problem because we were getting inundated with people putting in work orders, right? In foreign countries, right? We were only in the US. So real quickly, it was funny. My partner was like, this is amazing, but what are we going to do? Luckily, of course, figured out we restrict traffic just to these areas. It was very easy to fix. But for a bit, it was a little bit scary. Our system actually crashed. We had so many work orders one day. But we ended up getting acquired by our largest customer just a couple of years down the road. And then so I got a nice payout for that, really good, like could have retired type payout, right? If I wanted to, but I was too young for that. So I said, I have this skill. And so I took about 6 months off probably. Late. But then I slowly started my own digital marketing agency, and I started doing exactly what I had done, for people who would hire me. That, is, what I did for like a decade. And so my first business, I wouldn't call it an entrepreneur personally. I would say I was more of a business owner, at that point, a small business owner. I feel like an entrepreneur needs to create something, and that's just my, kind of my opinion, of it. I know different people have different opinions. But since then, I now own a software company, which I completely came up with, the concept and kind of how it works and what it does. And I have 2 training companies. One where I teach people how to do digital marketing, and one where I teach people how to create courses, actually, because, I make a lot of money selling courses. I've done a little less than $50 million in course sales since 2012. And that's me and partners. So that doesn't mean 50 million went in my pocket. But me and a handful of partners, then we did the numbers. It was like 49 million, something. But if you're into ClickFunnels at all, I don't know if you are, but we had the 10X, not the 2 Comma Club. We got 50 of those. We got the 2X Club, as well for that. So it's good to be verified, right? It's good to be verified by a third party when you're throwing out big numbers.
I know.
Man,
wow. There's so much from even just the information you've already shared with us. First of all, having the foresight in 2004 to understand that the direction, now we're in 2020 and just seeing the direction everything is going. It's like you guys had the vision before. That's like almost on some Jeff Bezos Kindle type.
Yeah, I gotta hand it to my former partner on that. And looking back, I want to kick myself for not creating Uber, right? Like, because this was way before. It was a decade before Uber. It was the same concept. Instead of having employees or even subcontractors or consultants, right? These are just straight up. You know what I mean? Like,
Wow. That's okay. You did good. You were number one in the whole world.
Right. Just $50 million. Hey,
I know.
Well, what I'm most proud of, honestly, I am proud of that. But I would conservatively say that my customers have done really, really, really conservatively $500 million in sales. And I'm not talking about, I don't work with like big global companies. I specialize in like your local roofing company. Okay, that's who I work with. My average customer is in the $3 to $5 million a year range, revenue wise. And that's what I kind of feel like my calling is, for that. Small businesses get taken advantage of by Google. Really, and I could, I've done hours long talks on that, so I won't, bore you with that. But, Google basically is making you pay for traffic that you should already be getting for free, in sites like, by giving priority to sites like Angie's List and Yelp and things like that. If I'm a local plumber, why should I have to pay Yelp, for leads, to get people in my local area, right? And then Google, they decide that because they decide who ranks, who doesn't. So, if I'm a plumber in Frisco, ethically, morally, in every other way, I should rank higher than a lead gen business.
Right.
It's just reselling my information. I don't, it's funny. Google's slogan is "Don't be evil." How the thing is saying that like reliable roofing is not reliable, right? Like branding wise, right? How ironic it is. So often the branding is opposite of what it is, right? And with Google, I think it's absolutely true. I make my living from them almost exclusively. And I'm a Google partner, and I have all the Google certifications and all that. So on one hand, I like them, but on the other hand, I think that they've done a huge disservice to small businesses, similar to what Walmart did, when they came in and destroyed all the local moms and pops, right? By giving preferential treatment.
So that's already a bunch of added value, just from the fact that with you have been in that space for over 16 years now at this point, being able to understand how to navigate the market, the advertising.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. No, I love it. What I tell people, I was special operations when I was in the Army, and I tell them that I'm still special operations now. And the reason I say that is because what I do is I enable business owners who are, don't have tremendous budgets, right? And don't have tremendous resources to not compete with the ones that do, but to own the ones that do. My clients end up in number one, right? I don't care if their marketing agency that's competing, is paying $20,000 a month, and my client is paying me, $2,000, right? We are going to dominate them. The reason why is because I can do guerrilla warfare on them. I can hit Google and use the tactics that they can't stop because I'm small and quick. I don't have the budget to go out and do these huge things like these, big marketing agencies do. Right. So I feel like I'm a champion, to be honest with you. I feel like I'm a hero because I'm able to help a small business owner, with a reasonable expenditure, go out there and compete, and win and grow their business and take care of their employees and, all that kind of stuff. I feel like there's almost no one that's doing that, that's kind of has that calling,
And so based on what you were saying earlier about Google and so forth, it kind of brought to mind a movie that I still need to watch fully on Netflix called Social Dilemma. Have you seen that? Oh
yeah. And I think that's a must watch. It's uncomfortable, probably. I was very aware of that kind of stuff before because of my profession, right? Like what you're going to find when you watch that, I was aware of pretty much 100% of that before I watched the movie. But I'm so happy because now, normal people who aren't in my profession, right, can see this, can see what's going on, and Donald Trump, man, I don't care what you like him or don't like him or whatever, but Donald Trump won the last election primarily because of digital marketing. And I'll debate that with anybody. In fact, he would answer that too, if he was here, I promise you. And the reason why is because he was able to, in real time, and he used paid traffic. He didn't do like organic SEO. I do paid traffic as well. But he was able to, in real time, see what questions and issues were people discussing in exact spaces. And bam, he was able to hit an ad right there, right now. If someone in Boise, Idaho at 8 o'clock is talking about this issue, bam, President Trump's got an ad talking right about that issue right there. That's why he won. Oh, well, that's one of the main reasons he won. And that's why you see what they're spending this year on digital marketing compared to the elections of the past, right? Like it was like the phone book fighting Google with the last election. Right. Like literally, like Hillary Clinton was like, she's like putting ads in the phone book, like getting
what's a phone book? I know.
It's so funny. That's part of, I teach people, like I mentioned, I teach people how to do what I do. And that's they always ask me like, I got to talk to the Better Business Bureau, or I got to, present to Chamber of Commerce, or not Better Business, I meant Chamber of Commerce or something like that. What do I talk about? And one of the things I love to do is I'll walk in and I'll take a phone book, and I'll walk in, and I'll say, who knows what this is, right? And when's the last time you used one? Then I'll hold up my phone and have Google. I'll say, who knows what this is? And when's the last time you used one? And that's it. It's a mic drop, right? Like I get you found on Google. Where everybody's at, that's where I get you the leads from. So if they're on Facebook, which is where everyone's at, I'm getting you leads from Facebook. If it's Google, wherever, digital. That's why I say digital marketer rather than SEO, because SEO is just search engines. Digital marketing is bringing in leads from every source available that are online, although technically really do everything. I mean, if you want to do, on mailers and it's going to give you an ROI, I'll do a mailing campaign for you. Like a physical, like mailers, right? Like roofers, that's can be good for, for example, digital banners and all that kind of stuff. I'll do whatever, whatever works for you. There is no cookie cutter.
Yeah. Random question before I jump into my main question. What do you think, right now there's so many people in the marketing space that they a lot of the trainings and the lead magnets and different things they use is always about how to use ads to get more traffic. Do you think that ads are the most important thing right now, or do you feel like there needs to be some kind of organic action or plan to support those ads?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the answer, is going to be, it depends, but I'll tell you, for most businesses, you're going to have a blended strategy. So here's what most of my clients end up doing. We end up we start the organic machine moving, okay? But the organic machine moves slowly, okay? Unless you have, a celebrity or something, behind it, right? That moves slowly. We do paid traffic, which is, ads. We hit it. We have a real big budget, right? Because that can get you immediately. But once the organic kicks in, the ROI, it's not even, I could show you slides that would blow your mind. There's not even, let me put it this way. The number one listing on Google, okay, on average gets 48% of the clicks on a page, okay? The number one organic typically gets 48%. So if there are 1,000 people searching for that and you're number one, you get 480, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the advertisers for Google, let's say, there is an average of 5 advertisers per page, okay? All of them combined only get 15%. So even if it doesn't matter what your budget is. So if 1,000 people a month are searching and 5 people are competing, then the maximum that the 5 are going to get is 150. They're going to share 150 as opposed to the number one gets 480. So you can't compare anyone, and I do both, by the way. I'm a Google partner. I do pay-per-click. I do all the, platforms. So it's not like I sell this, so I'm telling you that. I do both. Mm-hmm. But the reality, I'll tell you, everyone should use a blended approach. One thing that works for everyone is retargeting. If you're not retargeting, you're not marketing. Okay. And retargeting is, like, what was that movie Minority Report? With the Tom Cruise, basically, omnipresence marketing, right? So you sign up for a service and, once somebody hits they hit your website, for example, then they have, a cookie marker, and then your ads are shown to them, anywhere from 30 to 90 days, depending on what it is. And those are the absolute cheapest clicks you're going to get. There's nothing that, I don't even know what second is. They're so cheap because you're going to get people for pennies. You're going to get people, those clicks cost pennies, as opposed to the average click on Facebook right now costs between $2 and $4 if you're in, a competitive niche that has any real value. I see people that sell, I have a Facebook course, by the way, that I sell, but it's funny. I see people who do that, and they show, screenshots of these results and stuff with these crazy, crazy numbers. And it's like, yeah, that was not a cold ad to a new audience. That was a retargeting pixel to, someone that's been your customer. Yeah. Right. Like, I know
somebody who's already taken action on the site or done something before, right?
Yeah. Custom, you build your custom audiences, right? Your lookalike audiences. So for example, if you're doing Facebook ads, right, you should, as soon as possible, you should only be doing ads to people who have made a contact with you as soon as humanly possible. So let's say that they visited your Facebook business page, right? For example, it doesn't matter what they've done, but say they liked it or, whatever, made a comment, whatever it is, you should build that list as soon as humanly possible. Okay. Because those people already, are somewhere in the know, like, trust, like funnel, right? And when you do ads directly to that, audience, one of the things that you can choose, and this is kind of a sneaky thing, but one of the things that you can choose is you can choose to show, and I wish I had an example to show you what I'm talking about, but you've seen an ad like this, I can almost promise you. You can choose a button that shows your friends who have also liked that page. You see, have you ever gone to like a Facebook page and it said, also liked by so-and-so, and it's some of your friends, right? Okay, you can set up an ad that only goes to those. So that means that you're only displaying ads to people who, when they go to that, they see their friends. And you want to talk about social proof and social power.
Right.
Forget about it. Forget about it.
Because they become it's like a reference at that point, because right. Your friends saw that. It's like, oh, well, it must be verifiable.
Well, yeah, I mean, the company that, or the software company that I have is in the review or the reputation marketing space. All right. It helps you get reviews. That's the primary thing. It helps you get reviews and to distribute reviews. The reason why is because it is the number one thing, if you need I always tell, like an example, if you are driving down the street, boom, you crack a tooth, right? you pull it first thing you do. If you don't have a dentist, you have a dentist, you're going to call your dentist, right? If you don't, you're going to go to Google and you're going to say, you know, dentist near me or something, right? And you're going to, and so when that comes up, you're going to see the 3 little ads, right? And immediately you're going to look who has the most reviews with the highest score.
Right.
And 99% of the time, you're going to click on that person. You're not going to scroll. You're not even going to scroll. And when you go to Amazon, you look up your product, you sort by price, and then you see who has the most reviews with the best score. Am I right?
No, you're exact.
That's what everyone does, right? It's what everyone does.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a review strategy, you know, it's bad, right? Like people Google you before they do business with you now on almost everything.
Preach, Stephen.
Right.
Amen. I'm just telling you, like my like realtors, you know, like, you know, used to be a thing, right? Realtors now, like people, they're going to Google you before you do it. If I type in realtor and your name and city, and you know something doesn't look good, or if you don't have, like I was, I'm in the process of selling my house, and the first lady that I saw on there that was referred to me or whatever, she had 1 Google review, and she'd been in business like 20 years or something. I said, shh. When you talk to her, I'm not selling her service, that she's not going to sell the house. You know, like I might get her some reviews, help her out. You know, she's like a nice lady, but not going to do. And we all do that, right?
Yeah.
So you know, social proof and reviews are what move decisions, what move people from prospects into customers.
I love that, Stephen. You're just affirming like a case study I read a long time ago, even though it was about a Yelp, and it was Yelp that put it out, but it just talked about a local beauty salon who was just focused on getting good Yelp reviews, and how they weren't doing advertising. They were getting all this organic traffic just from people going to look at it. So it
is. It's amazing, and it's so easy to do. That's the thing. You know, it's completely free, right? To have a Google Maps account, or a Google My Business is the proper term, right? Yeah. That's free. It's easy to set up, and then collecting reviews is, you know, as simple as, you know, asking for it at the point of sale, right? Or of course, there's dozens of techniques and things that we who do this professionally use, right? To do that, like my software, you know, that's what it does. We install it, you know, on your site, and after you have a customer, of course, and you've all seen these. You know, I didn't create this, right? I'm just in this space. After you have your call, you get a text message or an email or both saying, hey, you know, we'd appreciate if you'd leave us a review, right? But you can take someone from 0 reviews to, you know, hundreds of reviews. You know, how many customers do you have in a day, basically, right? You know, 5% on average will leave a review. 5%. I'm talking about a requested one, right? 5% of people on average. So, you know, if you see 100 clients a month, right? You're going to, on average, get 5 if you just ask for it, right? I'm talking about good ones. Because, of course, you know, if you don't ask for it and they leave a review, the chances are 90% that isn't bad. It's not good. Right. You know, people that do it on their own accord, you know, they want to say, I'm not ever going back to, you know, such and such, you know?
Yeah.
So
I do reputation management for a company. So I everything you're saying is like spot on. So I'm gonna move on to the next question, because I could just talk to you all night.
Oh no, me too. I'm having fun.
So SEO and how to improve your Google ranking is still a huge mystery for most people. And can you provide some tips? And I think you've kind of already done that, but maybe we'll just go into that a little deeper. But can you provide some tips on how small business owners can begin implementing a strategy today to improve their SEO and, you know, their overall ranking?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are a business owner and you don't want to hire someone, then doing your own organic SEO, which means not the maps, right, is going to be very challenging, not impossible, but very challenging. The only way you're going to do that is if you like buy a course, like, you know, I sell a course, you know, that does that. Buy a course from someone that has lots and lots and lots and lots of testimonies and reviews and proof that it works, and then implement it. But most business owners don't want to do that. You know, most business owners want to do, you know, what they do, right? They don't want to learn a new profession. However, most small business owners specifically, the thing that can bring them the fastest results with the least amount of effort, that's absolutely free, is to claim their Google My Business listing. You know, it's google.com/business. You go there, and the thing is, it amazes me that people will be so lazy. Here's a statistic that's a fact. 48% of all the Google My Business listings that are live are unclaimed. 48% of the businesses that are, they're on Google. They're on there. Google, uses different sources. They're called aggregators to find these businesses. Like Yelp is like a place it looks, right? If Google sees a business on Yelp, it goes, oh, this must be a thing, right? Then it checks another couple of places. And so it will have a listing for your business, even if you didn't go create a listing for your business. So half of them are not even claimed. So you go and you claim your listing, because God help you if your competitor claims your listing. Right. And that happens a lot. That happens a ton. There's lots of nasty business that people do. Go claim your listing, and here's the key. Without, tricks like I teach in, my courses and things, just fill it out correctly, fill it out completely, Fill it out completely, meaning they allow you to use photos, upload, all the photos. They allow you to have a video. This is one thing that, it breaks my skull. It's like 3% of business owners do this. You can have a video, a 30-second video intro on your Google Maps listing. 30-second. It's like a free ad, right? Like a free ad, and only I think it's 3% of businesses use this feature. So go in, fill it out completely. One more tip on that. Google Posts is a feature that they released probably about a year ago. And basically, if you think about it like you read a blog, right? They make a blog post, right? Well, a business owner can make a Google post, okay, on their Google My Business listing. And it's like a free ad. It's a free ad. And when they type in the name of your business, let's say people that already are familiar with you, if they type in your business, on the right-hand side, you'll remember sometimes you see a huge listing that's just for your business, right? That's called a knowledge graph. And your post will show in your knowledge graph. So you could have a coupon. You could have a post with your coupon or your offer, right there. The last thing that I would tell you on this would be, you can choose your featured photo, okay, for that Google listing. You can choose your featured photo. Choose something that tells the story that you want your prospect, to see. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. What image? I'll tell you the best one I've ever seen. And I don't even know if it was intentional. It probably wasn't. Probably was just happened to happen. I was doing a webinar one time, and I was teaching people this, how to do this. And I looked up, and it was a local a children's dentist. All right. And their featured image was of the, I'm not going to think of the name now, the little snowman from the Disney movie, Frozen. Okay. And at the time, this is all that they were thinking about, right? But when you see that image as a parent, and you got a kid and they need a dentist, and you see that image, immediately you're like, oh, this place gets it. This place gets it, So I don't suggest you use like the front of the business or whatever, like most people do. I suggest that you pay somebody, $5 on Fiverr, right? Or maybe, spend a whole $15 on Fiverr, right? Fiverr.com, and have them make a custom image for you that has like an offer on it, right? Like a coupon or something. That you're going to get free traffic from Google. Why would you not? It just makes no sense. There's businesses that will pay. I get prospects that are paying thousands of dollars a month through advertising, and they didn't claim their listing and get their free traffic. In some markets, you can get thousands and tens of thousands of leads for free through your Maps listing. And if you're not in a competitive market, you can be number one real easily. And if you are in a competitive market, still, there's things you can do to stand out. But that is the quickest win. And also, by the way, it's a trust factor. Not having a Google page now in your business, it looks a little sketchy. It's like using non-branded email for your business, right? Like when I go to somebody wait, you're an attorney and your email address is bobsmith@yahoo.com.
Right.
Really? Come on now. You couldn't afford bobsmith.com. They're like, now I'll tell you, if you're a handyman, I'm cool with that. If you're like a local handyman, I'm all right with that, right? If I'm playing that part, right, we can be Goliath or we can be David, right? As far as our marketing goes, right? We can be the little guy just trying to win, or we can be the big guy, we'll crush it, but yeah, just take action, I guess. I know I said a lot about maps and stuff, but take action. Just, find out what's available and start doing it. And you can do it, man. You can, the small business owner, set up your Google, write and do it. You'll get something from it. If you might not get, life-changing business, but you may. I'm
over here taking notes as you're speaking, man. You're dropping so much knowledge.
I know. Speaker's worth of knowledge. You guys.
I'm gonna have to re-watch this video. Kind of like, okay, what did you say again? So I love this. So your system kind of does all this. Is it like a one-stop shop where instead of me having to go and create a Google account to create a Google page, I can go into your system and it'll do the whole gamut for me?
Basically. So my company, and I'm not pitching it right now, by the way. I'm not even really actively taking clients for my marketing agency. I'm focusing on other projects right now. But the ones that are like me, they normally are one-stop shop. So they will, do everything for you. What my goal is, for my marketing clients is, my goal is that the only thing they have to do as far as marketing really is write checks to me. And there's some little things that they can do typically, like if they'll make some videos, on their phone, things I give you guidance for. Like I'll have them go to all the different sites like Yelp, and there's hundreds, we call them citation sites, right? You probably think of them as a local directory, right? Like a Yelp, right? One strategy that you've got to do if you're not doing it, and this includes on Google My Business and Facebook, everywhere that you can do it, once a month, go in and update that with a coupon. That one strategy alone, that one tip alone I've had businesses that they just do that. I go back like 2 months later and they're like, God, we got so much we can't even do it. Like we had to take them off. We had to take off the coupons because we got so many, people who couldn't even service them. But all these sites like that, if you're going to have a listing, optimize it. And an agency like myself, that's one of the things we do for you. We go out and we set these up on usually around 100 sites. There's literally thousands that you can do this on. But if you don't want to do it yourself, you can go to sites like Fiverr, right? Like y'all know Fiverr, right?
Yeah. I love Fiverr.
You can go on Fiverr.com and look up it's called citation, right? So type in citations.
Okay.
And for about $20, okay, $20, they'll go out and build like 50 to 100 of these for you. And what that means is they go claim your listing and they upload your logo and they fill in the business description, right? And do all this stuff. If you're not doing that, not only is it going to make you rank lower in Google, because it's one of the top ranking factors in Google for local people is these citations. They're called citations. If you don't do this, not only are you going to rank lower, but you're going to miss all those customers, that you could have gotten, go get them, fill them out properly, maintain your branding consistently across them all. You'll see higher rankings and, that kind of stuff. That's why I love local, because, it takes 3 to 6 months to get things really going with organic, in any kind of a competitive market.
Yeah.
Doing these simple things right away can, if you get, a couple of deals here and there, depending on what your ticket price is, it can make a huge difference. Like a plumber, the average, I have one plumber client right now, his average job, it's probably surprise you, maybe it won't. His average job is $1,500, which really surprised me. I thought, gosh, but his average job is $1,500. If he gets one a month, right, from one of these directories, right, that we set up once, you just do it one time. You don't have to keep doing it. You should do what I said and update it all the time. Again, you go to Fiverr, they do this deal, they set them all up for you, then they send you the logins. So they do all the sweat work, and then they send you the login. I'm sorry, $15, not 50. So they'll about $15, they'll go set them up for you. Then they send you a spreadsheet with all the logins and the email address. You go change the password on it. So it's yours at that point. But that is a machine that can work for your business forever.
Wow.
For a one-time $15.
Steven.
Man, that's awesome.
By the way, people charge hundreds of dollars and even thousands of dollars to do what I just said.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. And it's powerful. No matter what you sell. Even if you don't sell locally, if you're an e-commerce store, I don't care. Go set up and claim your Google listing.
I'm set. I think this interview is good, so I'm drop the mic. Let's walk away.
I love it. I love helping businesses, especially small. I have nothing against big businesses, but I love to see, like the local guy, if I get a plumber, and nothing wrong with if you do the opposite. There's nothing wrong with using a national chain. I'm not against national chains. I don't use them though. You know, like I love local so much. Like I'm that guy that I don't use the automated thing at the grocery store because I want to check. My first job in my life was a checker. Yeah, I mean a bag boy at a grocery store. You know, when I was like 14 years old, I was a bag boy, and I don't want those jobs to go away. You know, so I don't ever use those automated things. I go through the line no matter how long it is. You know, because I want to keep those. I love, you know, I love helping, you know, I feel like everybody's like my neighbor, right? Everybody in my community. I feel like, I mean, we're all brothers and sisters, obviously, you know, but I feel like the people that are in, you know, proximity to me, you know, are, I don't know, I just feel like they're a lot closer. I want to help more. Jazzes me up more helping them than, you know, some big company. You know,
you're also supporting keeping that personal connection in those settings too. So I
absolutely, yeah, because you know when you do that, when you help somebody with marketing and sales or anything like that, you know, you're helping. You're not only helping the customer, you know, your customer who's paying you to do well and do well by their employees and expand and things like that. You're also helping the client, right? You're also helping their customer because I don't work with bad companies. There's no way you couldn't pay me enough money, and believe me, when I was doing this, actually, it still happens a little bit, but when I was more speaking on stages and things at like big national stuff, I would get, there's a lot, the biggest money in SEO is in things that you don't want to sell. And I'll just leave it to your imagination. But, you know, things that someone like me with, you know, a wife and kids and family and someone who loves Jesus is not going to participate in that. It's not good for my soul. And I'm not going to participate in, you know, harming someone else's soul, even though, you know, like I'll tell you, the casino, man, at one time I got approached by a casino right after I sold that company. And I could have banked easy 7 figures, you know, and at the time I wasn't making anywhere near 7 figures. I wasn't even making 6 figures, you know, right out the door. But, you know, can't do it, you know, if it antagonizes your soul.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know how that is because I know when I first got into the business, you know, I had two clients, two prospects, and it was a church on one hand, and it was a guy who you know did unholy things on the other hand. I was just like, yeah, no, that's not the path I want to go. So yeah, I know where you're coming from.
When I have opportunities like that in front of me, you know, in my mind, I think, is this the devil trying to catch me slipping, or is this you know Jesus giving me a test? You know, it's one or the other. It's not an accident. You know, this is a test. You know, look, I say, oh, here it is. I see it.
Right.
I see a test. I don't know which side it is. I don't know who's doing it, but I'm passing that test every time. I'm not failing that test.
And it's great that you have, you know, you're a Christian, you know, and I think that's what's kind of really helped guide you, you know, because anyone else who's not a Christian, they're looking at the dollar sign. They're like, I'm going to take it and run with it. So
no, you know, you have to. If someone who does what I do at an elite level, we can make bad people who sell bad things. We can make them more powerful. We have that choice, right? And it's a choice. We can choose elections. Who wins election? I mean, you know, like I just mentioned earlier about, you know, President Trump. You know, his digital marketing team being one of the most, if not the most important thing. We have the power to choose. You know, the impact is immeasurable. It's immeasurable, you know, and so, you know, just like any job where it has a huge impact, you have to be responsible, and, you know, you have to let your values, you know, guide you. You know, you have to have that thing to be able to say, is this in alignment with my core values, as not just as a business, because your business has core values and mission statements and, you know, all those things, but personally, you know, and I have never, the only time that I ever contemplated it was some friends of mine wanted me, good friends of mine, like in person, like people I see every day, wanted to open a payday loan store. And they wanted me to help them. Now, there's nothing illegal about, you know, payday loans, and I know that some people use them. I've used them. I've had times where I couldn't rub 2 nickels together, right? And the car breaks down, and, you know, what are you gonna do, right? So I'm not saying that they're bad people, whatever, but I just felt like I just feel like it's, you know, benefiting off of, you know, misfortune, because most people who do that are either uneducated and they don't understand, you know, that it's usury, basically, you know, the rates are, you know, ungodly, literally,
100%.
right, you know, so it may feel like it's a blessing to them at the time, and it may even be a blessing, but I just, you know, I wanted to so bad, you know, these are really good friends of mine. I was like, I want to work with my friends so bad, and they're good people, and they have a good intention. They're looking at it on the good side. They're coming to me saying, hey, what about that, single mom with 3 kids and her car breaks down and she doesn't get paid, till the end of the month. The bank's not going to give her money, right? What's she going to do? She going to go pawn something? That's the same difference. So they even had a good heart. They were coming at it from a good heart as well, but I just couldn't,
It's tough because on one hand, it's doing a good service initially, but then they're in your back pocket for like a year or two, and it's kind of like
it's ugly. It's just it doesn't feel good. I don't want to make money off of someone else's misfortune. I don't.
Yeah. You're right. It's a million ways to make money, but you got to choose a way that you can sleep at night. Not good money.
Yeah, you can't do that. What's the point, right?
Right. So I have a random question, kind of off topic. So we asked this question to a lot of people.
Okay.
So if you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would they be?
All right. So I don't know if I can do 3. I'd have to really think. I think just been given a bunch of times, and I'm happy to throw mine in. Obviously, Jesus. Obviously, Jesus would be number 1 because God knows what a second of being in His presence could do, much less a whole dinner, a whole meal. My mom passed away about 20 years ago, so that would be number 2 for sure. To have any more time with her would be amazing. I don't know. I can't think of maybe Jimmy Hoffa or something. So maybe I could say, hey man, where were you at right before like solve some of this, right?
Let me call Scarface real quick and see what's going down.
Right. Look at it. Something kind of corny. I have to think on it. That's an interesting question. Very interesting.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
Jesus
you can never go wrong with Jesus, especially right now. Good conversations about what's going on with this pandemic and what's the right thing? What should I be doing before I go home?
Well, yeah, because I feel like this is I have never in my life felt like the people who were supposed to be knowing what's going on don't know what's going on. My whole life I've never had this where I feel of course you see the memes and all the jokes about it. Mask yes, mask no. This is it. Can you do this? Can you do that? Like my wife has COVID right now actually. And so, and she's okay. She's just very mild symptoms. She's very healthy. And so I'm sure she's going to be fine. But, we've had to, quarantine, in the house. Like I have to wear a mask on when I leave this office, I have to wear a mask, and I'm sleeping in another room and all that kind of stuff. And, when we went to find information, as soon as she got, positive, she, we started Googling, well, what do we do? What do we do? And there was just so much different information. And even from the CDC and stuff, it just changes. It's crazy, but boy, that would be valuable. I'd sit down and say, I wouldn't spend a whole lot of time on it, but that would be a good one if it was right now to say, and by the way, Jesus, does anybody know what's going on? Do you got a guy? You got a guy? It's funny. My whole life, my adult life anyway, I've always prided myself. I'm that guy who knows a guy. Mm-hmm. In a lot of ways, I'm a really huge connector because I love doing that. And it's not a referral thing, by the way. I don't think I get paid for those in any way, physically, it's not like a commission or referral. Just, I love doing it. I love when someone, is looking for a good blank, to say, oh, I know, like Mario, that's why we've worked together in the past, on a couple of projects, because if someone said, hey, does anybody know someone, yeah, I know a guy, I got a guy. Imagine Jesus has got a guy list, and imagine being on it. I hope I'm on it.
Right.
That'd be pretty amazing.
Now, a question is, so, as a web developer or any business owners, a lot of times you start getting a pull of emails. A lot of people claim to be SEO experts, mobile experts, web experts, whatever. So a person searching around, so they got the website, they got everything together. Now they need SEO. How do you find a credible SEO expert, to improve your Google rankings? Like, what would you do a Google search, and obviously a lot of people come up first, or people who might be good in SEO or might got a lucky break and they come up high in the search engine, but they might not be the right candidate. So how would a person search?
I'll tell you that there's only one answer to this. And I teach this in my courses because, people who buy my SEO course are either people who do what I do, right? And they have clients and they need to know how to service them, or they're business owners and they want to do it themselves. And I have a good mix of both. So the only real way to know is, so here's one thing about SEO that's different than, and there's probably some other examples, but most professions, when you learn the profession, you know the profession. You know, if you go to medical school, you know, maybe once a year, you know, you go take some some online learning or whatever, right? But you're a doctor, right? You know, if you're a lawyer, you know the law. Well, as an SEO, things change so frequently, you know, right, that you have to have someone that not only, and here's one thing, and I won't draw this out, I promise, but you know, Google makes its income from people paying for ads, okay? So it spends hundreds of millions of dollars a year in disinformation. It doesn't want you to know how to rank on Google, okay? If people knew, you know, the ranking algorithm, you know, like if Google published it, right, then Google would use billions of dollars, okay? Right. So what it does is it puts out all this information and it tells you this is how you rank, right? This is how you rank. No. Going to Google for SEO information is like asking a father how to get with his daughter, okay? And that's, I'm telling you, it's that like serious, right? And so the problem is, you know, if you're just a normal person and you don't know any better, then, you know, you might Google someone and see who's on top, or you might, you know, go to a conference, you know, a more mainstream conference, and unfortunately, you're going to get bad advice. The current wisdom right now, and it changes, they change their plan every about 3 years. Right now, it's just create good content. Just create good content. They're great content, and then no one will ever see it, and it won't matter because it's crap. It's a lie. It's a fantasy. It's not true. The only way to rank with Google is to know what Google, you know, what Google favors and what it doesn't. And here's the thing though, here's one clue. And I teach this to my students as well. One thing about fighting Google is that, like, think about if you're playing cards, Google has to show you their hand because anyone can look at page 1, right? So if you ask me, Stephen, how do I get on page 1? Well, first thing I'm gonna ask you is for what? Because it's different. It's not the same. There's not one model. That's why most training courses fail, because they try to apply one model. What gets you on page 1 for buy Viagra online and what gets you page 1 for Dallas roofer has nothing to do with each other. Okay, it's about 90% different and 10% the same. Okay, but they have to. If you know what to look for on page 1, Google can't hide. If you know what to look for, they can't hide. You know, if Google says, well, you have to do this, this, and this, and I look at page 1 and they're not doing this, I'm like, you're lying, Google. You know, I know what to do. I'm going to do exactly what these 10 folks here are doing because you're showing me, because they won, right? And if really the top 3 is all that matters as far as organic. You know, when you get to 4 through 10 on page 1, it's not even worth for most people. It's just not. You got to be in the top 3 to you know, to get that value. So yeah, so I would say that the only thing that you can do as a normal person is find however you find this company, you have to talk to real customers. So either a friend refers you because they've gotten a good result. That's method number 1. That's how I get 100% of my business pretty much. Okay, someone I've already killed it for. You know, they have a friend saying, oh, you know, like, oh yeah, I got a guy. Yeah, he's the Google guy. I got a guy. Because again, they don't want to know how or what or when or why. They just want to know, can you help me? What's it going to cost? How long is it going to take? That's pretty much all they want to know. They don't want to know the mechanics, right? So either you get a friend, you know, or if you have a company, you know, that approaches you through, or if you Google or whatever, then, you know, I'm going to talk to at least a dozen clients. Now, if they say no, done. Next. I got to see a dozen clients that are winning right now, and no case study, no like, and I teach my students how to build credibility for themselves, right? I teach them how to manufacture credibility. The reason why is because I know when they do my techniques, it's going to work. I'm positive. I don't think it's going to work. I'm not kind of sure. You know, I've helped literally tens of thousands of people do this, right? Me and my students have probably ranked millions of websites, right? I'm talking about the ripple effect, right? Right. So I'm positive it works. So I don't feel uncomfortable, you know, teaching my students techniques to build credibility, right? To help, you know, move the prospect down the road. But yeah, you got to talk to them. You got to spend that time. And, you know, for businesses, it is probably the most important investment that you make, you know, in your business is probably your marketing, right? Because without that, you've got nothing. If you don't have marketing, you don't have a business, basically. You know, if you don't have paying customers, and obviously sales is important as well. You know, once you get the person in the door, but if you don't get the right eyes on the offer, you're done. So you got to talk to people, and don't be lazy and take case reports. Because what's under case studies? What does that mean? That means nothing. So I don't even do them. It's a waste of time, right? Like it's a waste. I don't know if that's true. you know if that's true? I don't know if that's true. Do I know that you can't see someone's traffic, right? You know, so no, so that's it. But I'm telling you that's absolute platinum standard right there. That's the platinum standard. Anybody that isn't comfortable with giving you a list of referrals that you can talk to and that you do talk to, and then you go confirm to, where are you? You know, referral number 1, Bob Slim. Let me look up Plummet. Oh, look, there's Bob number 1. You know, and go do your work. And when you do that, then you've got pretty much, I'd say almost 100% chance of success, right? Because you got someone that knows that, you know, they've proven it to you, that they've not only done it, but they've done it multiple times. So very important question, by the way. Very, very important question, because there's so many unscrupulous SEO companies, and some of them even aren't unscrupulous. They're in poorer parts of the world, and you know that's they just got to try to survive. You know, they're just trying to survive, and you know they probably don't even know that they're selling stuff that's not going to work. You know, they probably don't even know. You know, they do that in this country too. There's companies in this country, marketing companies that'll hire people and get them to sign up all their family and friends. You know, and then they say, oh, they can cancel anytime, and then they find out it's a year contract.
Yep.
Big companies doing it. I won't drop names because I don't want to be negative, but that's a big, thing to do. So always verify. Always verify.
That's good.
I've been through that before, so I know exactly.
Oh yeah, most business owners have, especially 3 or 4 years ago, Google started getting pretty rough with what it does, and and removing people from its search engine, or knocking them to page 10. Lots of tactics that worked for decades, or not decades, because Google hadn't been around long, but lots of techniques that worked for a long time that were spammy stopped working. And so a lot of people, they're like, well, I got to eat, right? So they still try to sell these spammy services to people. I don't know, I don't want to judge, but I wouldn't feel good selling something to somebody that doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're gonna fire you anyway, so what's the point, right?
Right.
Probably refund, charge back, whatever. I mean, my refund rate on my courses is like 0.0000001 or something. It's like something ridiculous. It's like, less than it's 1/100th of a person out of every 100, refunds. And those are just people that just want like free stuff. And what's funny is they probably have hard drives full of training that they never use.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm just another folder that's wasting space on their hard drive. You can't steal and expect a blessing. How are you gonna steal and expect a blessing? Come on now.
No.
It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work. It might work that way a little bit, a couple times, but not long term. Not long term.
No.
Nope.
That's real. So real quick,
Yeah.
before I jump into the next question, what is there anybody who has made it to in 2020 to the first page top ranking that didn't spend any money?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, you have to realize that there's lots of things that have, very low competition. For example, like, y'all are here local, so Little Elm, right? Like right next to where I'm at. If you're like, I don't know, a plumber or a chiropractor or something, there's only so many, right? So, you may be number one just because you're the only one, or there's, maybe there's three, maybe the others don't even have a website or something. So tons and tons and tons. But other than that, not a lot if there's value. So there's tons of people on page 1 and number 1 for searches that have no value or low value. Okay. But if you're talking about a search that has, commercial value to it, which is one of the things, when someone comes to me and they want to work with me, the first thing I do, I need to talk to them. And people might think this is funny, but I'm not going to jump on the phone with you. We're not going to have a quick call. We're not going to go do lunch. You're going to go fill out my form. Okay. Just like if you were going to a good doctor, right? If you go to, if you're about to have a heart attack and you're wealthy and blessed and you can afford the best, right? You ain't just going to call up, Mount or Cedar Sinai and go, who's the best heart surgeon? Get him on the phone. I want to, quick chat. Don't work that way. You have to fill out my form, and it's ugly and it's long and purpose. It is long. And so if you take the time and energy to fill that form out, I will then spend at least an hour, typically closer to 2 hours, figuring out if we can win together, right? But the people that don't finish my form, and people laugh and people argue with me on that and say, oh, you're missing so much business. I'm not missing any business. I'm missing clients I don't want. I'm missing clients I don't want. And I fire clients. I used to fire them a bunch before I learned how to do this, what I'm saying now. In the past, anybody that would hire me, I'm like, well, why would I turn down business? Then I realized that, oh my Lord, I can have a single client that brings me in, let's say, $5,000 a month. That's a pretty common budget with me. Okay. The clients that pay more are the ones that are your dream clients, right? Those are your dream clients. My relationship with my clients, and I tell them this when I have my final meeting with them before I allow them to hire me, and this is a fact. And if any of my clients are watching this, you could verify this. We sit down, okay, and I tell you, here's my vision for our relationship. My vision is that every month I'm going to send you an invoice and a report, and you're going to send me a check. That is my vision for our relationship.
That's my vision too.
Now, for the first 3 months, we have an in-person meeting that's usually 2 to 3 hours, okay? Because for the first 3 months, I teach you how to read that report. And I teach you how to go into your own Google Analytics account, if you choose to, and your own Google Maps account, and how to read those numbers and understand what's going on. Because an educated customer will understand the value of what I'm providing. And here's the trick. Once the phone starts ringing, they don't want to talk to you. They want you to be just like I want. I tell them, I want to be like your electric bill. Do you talk with CoServe? Do you have conversations? Only when something's broke. Mm-hmm. The only time you want to talk to the electric company is when something's not working. So if something happens and let's say, the phone stops ringing, then we're going to get on a phone call. We're going to go have an in-person meeting, right? And that happens sometimes, right? I've had people where their web designer, developer, change something thinking it wasn't going to make an impact, and boom, like they're literally like gone, right? Someone that's on page 1 is literally not on Google anymore, like the next day, right? These problems are always fixable, but that's the only time. But because I only take clients like that, then I am able to work a couple of hours a day and make 7 figures, in that one business. I can only, and I'm actually lying to you right now. Let me tell you the truth. I probably spend a couple hours a week, on that business. I spend a couple of hours a week on my marketing agency. Now that's because I have virtual assistants that do the work, right? I primarily use Bangladesh. It's the poorest country in the world. And I pay them $3 an hour, which before you hate on me, that's about $90,000 a year in the US. My average employee in Bangladesh supports 10 people. Wow. 10 people. They're lining up to take my jobs when they're there. So when it happens, it's a blessing. And what I do is I have a training available. They can go do the training, and then take some tests. And if they pass, then when I'm ready, I'll hire them. But there's people just waiting up, in line waiting for those jobs, right? So that's one of the reasons why I've considered expanding the marketing business more, because it blesses a lot of people in a ripple effect. And maybe I'll take on a partner or something. But right now I'm focusing really heavily on my technology, on my training company, and on my software. If I try to split myself over 10 businesses, that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that I see, like entrepreneurs make once they get to a certain, success point. Nobody became a billionaire because they had like 5 different revenue streams, right? Everybody that became a billionaire was doing one thing, right? And when you're starting off, you want to have a bunch of things going on. And I'm saying for security, in the beginning, you want to have a bunch, but I can't, if I'm competing, if I have 5 jobs and, one of my competitors in one of those 5 jobs only has 1 job, that's pretty arrogant of me to think that I'm going to be able to beat him, right? If all day long, all he's doing 40 hours a week is focusing on that one business, and I spend an hour a week on it and I'm going to beat him, not very likely, not very likely, or not for very long, unless I just, got lucky or something.
Right.
So what does your average day look like? Like walk us through, your morning to pretty much wrap your day.
Well, I think like a lot of people, especially people who, especially entrepreneurs, love entrepreneurs, and I love being one, and I love hanging around with them. They're some of my favorite people. They have a different mindset. And, one of the great things about being an entrepreneur or a business owner is that one of the things that can give you the best ROI is investing in yourself, And so it's like, part of my job description is making me better, whether it's my health or my wealth or my relationships, you know what I mean? Because when you get better in one area, it makes everything better, it bleeds over. So like probably most successful entrepreneurs, I have a morning ritual. Mine includes, praise and worship. I figured out a hack though. You're gonna laugh because I call it a hack, but I really, and it's probably, I was dumb. Probably everybody was doing it but me, and I was dumb. And when I figured it out, I thought I figured out something. But here's my hack. Okay, I praise and worship while I'm exercising. That's my hack. And I know, again, y'all probably been doing that forever. Probably everybody watching this podcast like, yeah, you're done. But forever, I was separating those two things. And so now I do my praise and worship, while I'm exercising. And so, I do meditation. So I get up, and it takes me about, I get up at 5 normally. That's my normal. I get up at 5, and it takes me about 2 hours to get my normal morning routine done. So I'm usually done around 7. And then I will then work until, on an average day, a couple of hours, and then take a couple hours break, maybe lunch or something, a couple more hours break. And then, one of the things that, so I'm not hammering out, I'm not one of these, I'm grinding, I'm hustling, all day hustling. I did that when I was starting, right? I had to, and sometimes you do have to. But now the most important thing to me is quality of life. Quality of life is more important to me than money or any of these other things, right? So the way that I have a high quality of life is I get to spend the majority of my time doing the things I enjoy doing, as opposed to the things I don't enjoy doing. So I'll tell you one other little tip. I think is really important. And I think this was even on the social dilemma, but I've been doing this forever. My social media, I only do it at specific times. Okay. Normally there's exceptions to that. Like if I'm marketing a product or something like that, but most of the time I only look at Facebook or whatever, once a day, log in once a day, do my little Facebook business. Right. And the other thing, and this is a big one, and I think everyone alive should do this. You do not check email first thing in the morning. You check email maybe. I usually get mine around 11, okay, around 11, because your agenda changes. If I start work at 8 and I begin by checking my email, then my day starts to get, I start to do the things that are I start reacting to things in my email. And then what happens is not the most important thing to happen, and I stole that from, I forgot what his name is, The One Thing, yeah, amazing, but one of my favorites. And that changed my life. That one thing was a major point for me. It changed my life. But when I start my day, my business day, I already know from yesterday, what's the one thing I got to do today? What's the most important thing I got to do today? And I'm not doing nothing until it's done. And if it takes me all day, it takes me all day. If it takes me 2 days, it takes me 2 days. But if I come in and I start looking at email, and then I got to do this, I got to do that. Or if I get on Facebook, good Lord, or YouTube. Or
that rabbit hole. Yeah.
I could waste weeks. I've had periods of time where, my passive income, was so high that I could probably take a year. I'm not exaggerating. Probably take a year off without working, right, and be just fine, right. And I would have weeks where I'd be on a rabbit hole. I'd get up in the morning and I'd watch YouTube videos all day long, or play video games all day long. Get the dopamine hits, right. I think that's in the social dilemma too. When you watch, I can't remember if it's from that or from another one, but video games and online social media, they figured out how to, give you, dopamine, feel good, chemicals, right? And they keep you on it. That's why you keep clicking. I got to get more likes, or I got to get more points, or get more experience, right? They build that into it, so you waste your whole day, on whatever. So I would tell you, if you didn't listen to anything else I've said, if you're not doing that, put your social media on a calendar. Only do it when you need to do it, and do not check your email until at least a couple hours. God, at least an hour. At least give yourself an hour, right, before you do that. And I tell you, I teach this to my students because I don't just teach them how to do a thing because it's useless. If I just teach them how to do a thing, I have to work on mindset a little bit. I have a master's degree in counseling and psychology, and also a licensed professional counselor. I know a lot about psychology and things, and I don't do it professionally, although I have my degree. I work with clients, right? I work with veterans because I'm a veteran. I don't do it now, but I did it for a lot of years. If the mindset's not right, then all the technical training won't matter. It won't matter because you won't do the right things. It's really easy to get busy doing nothing, right? Being busy, right? Especially when you're self-employed or an entrepreneur, it's easy to spend 8 hours and accomplish nothing.
Exactly.
So that's why, when I started work today, I knew last night when I went to bed, I'm lying. I'm sorry. When I finished my work day yesterday, I had tomorrow scheduled. I had tomorrow, and I don't have, I'm not one of those people. It's at 9 to 9:05, I just know what's my most important thing, to do tomorrow. And if you can just do that, it makes such an impact, because how much time do you spend on all these other little things, and that one thing that you didn't do might've been the one thing that you needed to do to go to the next level or to change your life. And so much is about timing. If you have an opportunity in front of you, you know, and we've all done it. I'm positive, I'm pretty sure anyway, maybe not positive, that we've all done it. You've had an opportunity sitting in front of you that looked like it looked so big you didn't almost believe it was real, and you hesitated, and you didn't take it, you didn't take the action, and it went away, you know, and you'll never know, right? And some of my biggest wins have been from not doing that. Some of my biggest wins have been from saying, ooh, this is a thing. I gotta stop. People talk about balance and stuff between like home life and work. It's impossible. There's no such thing as a balance. You know, the best you can do is the best you can do. You have to make sure that you keep all your buckets filled, right? But there's times when you got to go. If your relationship's in trouble, if I was having problems with my wife, I wouldn't be doing business. It wouldn't be no business. There wouldn't be no at the gym. I'd be figuring out how to fix things with my wife. Because, you know, where if I had trouble, you know, with my spiritual, you know, relationship, you know, if I'm thinking, I'm having thoughts I shouldn't be having, or I'm having, you know, trying to think about doing things that I shouldn't be doing, you know, then it'd be like, whoa. We're not even going to go into work today. We need to go to find a Bible study, you know, to go to today. Or I need to call a brother, you know, and say, hey, you know, I gotta talk. No, let's go talk, right? Let's go figure something out together, you know?
Yeah.
I love it. Great knowledge. So I have a two-part question real quick. And so this question is one of these things where you get into business and it's kind of, you gave a great transition to what I'm about to ask. And so I'm a new entrepreneur, or maybe a business owner, and I need to learn how to prioritize my time and my days and maybe even different tasks. So what are some of the tools that you use to help prioritize your day or organize your schedule? And then the other question is, it's probably the same question, is what other, outside of the tools, what other aspiring advice would you give to other entrepreneurs? So like, okay, here's how you organize your day, here's how you organize your tasks, and here's some of the materials that I read or mentors that I look to help inspire me to accomplish those goals that I put aside. So that's what my two-part question.
Okay. Well, part one is pretty easy. So because there's lots of free tools that are available that I can utilize, I do, because so many people that I work with, not only does it work for me, but so many people that I work with, you know, I work with people in countries all over the world, and some of those I have customers, and, you know, I have students in, you know, the poorest parts of the world, like literally, right? So, you know, I don't even look at really like expensive, you know, like solutions for things, right? I'm really good at this, by the way. I'm really, because of my technology background, I can, at companies, big companies in the past, I was the guy that they said, we need to figure out how to do this. What software does that? And I was that guy. So mostly what I use now is Google products, right? Is the free Google products, right? So, you know, Google Calendar, you know, any of those, right? And for me, I'm a low tech guy like that. So I just have, like, you know, checklists. You know, I use the primary tool that I use for, sorry, not for my personal stuff, but for my business stuff. And I'm completely drawing.
And if there's some software that you develop, you know, go ahead and do a shameless plug.
No. I was gonna say I'm drawing a blank on it now. The software, there's a project, basically a project management software that I use that for the life of me I can't think of what it's called.
Is it Trello?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, I bet. Good call.
I love Trello.
I need more coffee. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Jesus. Yes. I would have kicked myself later if you had not come up with that. Thank you, Jennifer.
No problem.
Yeah, Trello. I love Trello. I was one of the early adopters of it. And so I use it, and again, it's free, and I love it because it's easy to bring in boards and stuff, right? It's like easy to, you know, to collaborate. So yeah, I love Trello. Is the only thing really that's outside of like a Google product that I use, like, you know, like that kind of stuff.
Right.
Now the second thing you were saying about was it like I guess my number one advice for,
like aspiring entrepreneurs, because, you know, a lot of times, and this is the reason why we've even developed Entrepreneur, is a lot of business owners and people get into business, you know, they get excited.
Yeah.
And then there's a time where you just kind of lose that excitement.
Yeah.
Because you feel like you're on an isolated island, or you feel like you got no support. And so we came up with Entrepreneur to kind of create that support. And that's the reason why we interview a lot of people like yourself. Because people watch this, it's like, man, how come I didn't think of that? Oh man, I'm not alone, because, you know, I've taken risks that could have caused my family to be homeless, but you know, I've taken that risk based on, you know, listen to people like yourself who said, okay, this is what you need to do to get from point A to point B.
Yeah. So Yeah, I love that. So that's a very good, that's a very good mission that y'all have. I love that. I love that. I would say that the most important thing, and this is definitely not me. This is biblical, and I'm pretty sure I'm stealing it directly from Jim Rohn. But this has made the biggest impact on me. Is you need mentors and you need self-development, and that's very important. But more than that is you have to be around the right people. So, I'm talking about as much as possible physically. Now, if it has to be virtually, like at a time right now, that's okay. But you need to be, and this is going to sound familiar to you, Mario, because our pastor, Mario and I go to the same church, would say something similar. I always have, peers, right? I always have peers, people who are on a kind of a similar level to me. I always have relationships with people that are on higher levels than me, in all the different areas, right? Relationship, money, health, all those things. And then I'm always mentoring people, right? And people, until you mentor people, you don't understand. And it sounds like I'm being like, trying to be cool or self-righteous or something. It's true though, when you start mentoring people, you get the value out of it more than they do most of the time. It really is true. I know it's a cool thing to say, I guess, but it is a reality. I get some of the most rewarding time that I spend is with the people that I'm helping, to bring up, right? So, I'll tell you a really quick story that for me illustrates this. When I got to a point where I had, money like probably what most people want. All right. And I'm not, Warren Buffett rich or anything like that, at all. But when I first got to that kind of money that probably most people would really be happy with, right about 7 figures a year. Right. And I'm talking about in take home, not in, I'm talking about in net, not gross. I love cars. So I'm sitting there and I'm at a Maserati dealership and I'm looking at this beautiful car that's close to $200,000 and I can afford it with cash, right? I'm not going to curse myself with a payment and all that. I'm like, I only toys are cash, right? You only buy toys with cash, Mario, right? We don't finance toys, right? But I had so much fear and doubt about that, right? It's such a, it's more than some people's houses cost, right? Literally. And, what if my business changed and all this stuff? And so I called one of my business partners at the time. I was in a company that we had 5 partners, and I called him up, and he was probably a level up from me at this point, financially. And I called him and I said, hey, I'm looking at this car, blah, blah. He goes, how long have you been talking about this car? I'm like, I've been talking about, for a little bit. He goes, do you like the car? He said, yeah. He said, he's been by the beeping car. And he hung up on me.
Oh, man.
And that was it. And I did. I just did what he said. I just bought the beeping car. But the funny thing is, when you are surrounded, when your peer group is people that are a little bit higher than you, especially, you start to think differently. And it sounds, it's very popular to say something like this, but you don't understand it until it really happens for you. I was at a mastermind once on a Thursday. I got an idea for a 6-figure business that was going to take me like nothing to do. So I was talking with one of my friends that's actually a friend of my wife's friends. Anyway, and this guy's a really nice guy, and he's, has a good job and makes a good living and all that kind of stuff. I told him my idea. I was excited, and he just started poo-pooing on it. Just like, how you can do that? You just all these different things. And I was like, I started to get mad and go, of course you don't know this because you are a slave that has a job, and but I started to get defensive. Well, luckily God stepped in. I probably didn't even make a face, right? But as soon as he left, I called again. It was a different partner, but I called a different partner of mine, and I said, hey, let me holler at you real quick. I'm thinking about doing blank, 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 blank. What do you think? And he's like, oh man. He goes, man, I'd love to get in on that. I'd love to. Could I get involved in that? Somehow, could we partner? Because his mindset, he knew that I was going to do it, right? He knew I can build a 6-figure business because I just had an idea one day. Because he's done that, right? And he knows dozens of people that have done that, right? Yeah. So immediately, one person, and again, he's not good or bad or right or wrong. It's just where you're at. The only way to change, you think you can change where you're at by consuming content, and you can a little bit. You really can. You can change and you can execute. You can make small changes, but to make a quantum leap quickly, you need to surround yourself with people like that. And if you have to pay for it, if you have to pay for it, do it. I'll tell you, one of the scariest things I've ever done as a as a human being. My first real big break, I guess if you want to call it, I paid $25K to go to a 1-day mastermind. Wow. $25K. And at that time, let me tell you, I was making 6 figures, but it was barely, there was a couple of maybe 150,000 a year, maybe, working a lot. And I took a huge gamble, one of those things like, my wife, loves me and trusts me, and, she's a good Christian wife, and, honey, if that's what you, think, then, do it. And, but I can tell you, I made connections. So my plan was to get into business with the person that put on the mastermind. It wasn't because I wanted to attend because, I wanted to get the value of it. I wanted to get in person. I wanted to get in front of this person because I thought I could actually become his partner. Well, funny thing happened. I did become his partner, actually. It wasn't that day. It was a few weeks later. Okay, I did. Here's the funny thing. That night at that mastermind, one of the speakers was that guy's like upline. It wasn't a multi-level marketing, but like that's a term most people know, right? I met a guy who was a level up from the guy I went there to meet. And I said, I don't even care so much about this. I want that. And 9 months later, I had that. 9 months later, and I'll tell you how I did it. I joined their community. Okay, it was an online community, and I gave away value for free. And I came on webinars for 9 months every week. For 9 months every week, I came on and did a webinar for free, stuff I could charge for 9 months. And then the owner said, let's have a phone call. And like 2 weeks later, I'm a partner in the company, and that's the one that I mentioned earlier. That I mostly made close to $50 million in sales with that particular company. And so but I can connect the dots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I took a leap of faith, and I said, I know the Lord has a bigger plan for me than what I'm doing. And He wants me to give more. He wants me to help more people. He wants me to have a bigger impact. And so here's this thing right in front of me. This guy lived here in Dallas. The guy I'm talking about, the level 1 guy, he lives right here in Dallas, right? But no way you're going to meet him in person without paying for it. There's no way, not even going to happen, right? And so I said, God, 25,000. Like, I can tell you how long I sat there and I obsessed about it.
Wow.
But if I didn't do that then, I don't know where I'd be now.
And you were consistent too.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, and I'll tell you that whole 9 months, and again, my wife, she's awesome and she loves me and she trusts me. But this training that I was doing, I could have sold. I had already sold 2 courses in this exact niche before. So I stopped promoting my own competing course. Right? It'd be like if I had a car dealership and I wanted to go work and try to be owner in this other car dealership, and I just stopped selling my cars over here. In fact, there was confusion for months. People were like, well, why are you here? Here. Matter of fact, at one point I was teaching in 4 SEO communities at one time. Because when I started, there was like, we'll pay you $5,000 a month to teach here, 4 or 5 hours of work. I'm not gonna say no to that, like 4 or 5 hours of work. But, so I don't know if 9 months sounds fast or not, to some people it might sound like a lot, but the whole time I'm thinking, what if this doesn't happen?
Yeah.
I had just taken 9 months away from what I could have been doing building these businesses, and so the story could have been that it never happened.
Yeah.
And I lost my audience that I spent a year. And by the way I built that audience was doing the exact same thing with a different person. I joined their community. I added value for free. They noticed me and said, man, this guy is, killing it. Started paying me to coach, and then brought me in as a partner, as an owner. And I'm going to do it again. I'm in a process. I'm telling you, you bring me back on in 6 months or something. I'll tell you the one I'm working on now. It's coming. Checks in the mail.
Nice.
It's a reality, but I want to work with people. The people have the biggest audiences, so I can make the biggest impact. And it's not just financially. I'll tell you what, there's lots of good jobs in the world, and I don't want to disrespect people like doctors who literally are saving people's lives, right? And people who do ministry, and people who who serve, paramedics, policemen and stuff. But when I first started, doing the course thing, I'm making 7 figures. And we would do these live events. I mentioned Jordan Belfort when we were offline. We would do these live events where the members of this community would come meet us, right? Thousands of people. I would have, I'm not kidding, I would have dozens of people come up to me and like crying, like thanking me for changing their life, right? Because when you change someone's finances, you can, if they make good choices, you can change their whole life. Or you can help them, I'm not doing it, God's doing it and they're doing it, but I'm saying, And so I had a moment I remember at a conference, and I had a kind of an assistant at the time. And I remember, and I'm thinking, this isn't real. This is not real. These people are making me rich. And when we get in person, they're like in tears thanking me for it.
Wow.
You know, like like this, pinch, pinch, like, God, thank you, Jesus, for putting me in this position, I mean, I would have been happy just to make the money. I'd have been happy just to have, the impact, right? But to have both, I mean, there was one couple that the course at the time I was selling was $8,000, okay? And that's quite a commitment, for some people, right? $8,000 for a training course. And they talked to me before they bought, and they sent me a message on Facebook. We were doing a selling webinar. I never answer those during a selling webinar. I'm literally live selling something, right? But something about it I did. I don't know why. I know now, of course. But I read it, and they said, this is our last hope, basically. And like, we've had businesses and they're failing, and we're not doing well, and the financial strain is so hard that it's it's hurting our marriage, right? And do you think we should join? And so I talked with them for about 45 minutes, and they decided it was the right decision for them, and they joined. And about 4 months later, I got like a 20-page email. I'm only slightly exaggerating, but they went, they implemented the material, and they completely changed their finances, which of course put their relationship back on track. So basically they were thanking me. So by me selling them an $8,000 course, I helped save their marriage, right? Which I would have been happy to do that and not have the $8,000.
Right.
If you just said, hey, what if you gift this to them? If God came to me and said, hey, if you gift this to them, then this is going to happen for them, right? But if they pay for it, it's not going to work. I would have given it to them, right? I would have figured out how to tell my partners, hey, I'm going to, pay for this or something. I don't know. We don't ever give it away, but I would have figured out something, right? Because the impact, for someone, I'm not a marriage counselor. I mean, I could be, I guess, because I have, credentials, but you know what I mean? But it just, I don't know. That's the biggest thing I think about being an entrepreneur, is the ability to make a huge impact. And you asked me a minute ago, I think I got caught in my own weeds. What you do when things are bad or things like that. I always go back to this. I always go back to remember why you started. And I start that with all of my students. It's a day one thing before we ever learn anything technical about SEO or any of that stuff. Why are you here? Why are you starting this journey? Because I want to change my life. Because I want to change my family. I want better for my family than, what I had growing up, or, I want to give more at church. I have so many friends at church that, they frame their financial goals, not as I want to make how much, but how much I want to give. Mm-hmm. That's how they frame it. And I know it's a small thing, but I think it's massive. I sit down and I play my financial goals and I say, you know what? I want to give 25% this year, right? I want to give 25% this year, or I want to give, let's say I want to give, $100,000 this year. Right? Just to church. I mean, above and beyond tithing, right? I want to do that. Then your mission, then the goal of your business becomes not about you. It becomes about something bigger. And then, it works. It works. Let me just tell you, it works.
Love the knowledge.
You start seeing things differently, you start seeing things differently, and
you get trapped in.
Things happen, people come in, I talked about the relationships over and over, but when you're on that right mission, the right people start showing up. Mm-hmm. And there's no logical, rational reason for it. There's just not, you end up, all these coincidences start happening, where I run into Mario at the gym, right? All these things, it's just like, so, write down, of course, everyone has the mission statement, all that stuff. If you have a business and you haven't done those basic things, if the goal of your business is to make money and that's it, then you probably don't have a great quality of life. Yeah. Probably. You might. I don't know, but you probably don't. The purpose of your business has to be about more than making money, right? Making money is fine. Nothing wrong with making money, but it has to be about something more. And in mine, all the businesses that I own, I basically, the focus is to help my students, help my customers enrich their life and be able to bring in more money. Specifically, that's the specific vehicle. And I don't even care how. That's why I have a couple of different vehicles. But I know if I can help them bring in more money and they make good choices, that their life will get more. Their life will be better and they will be blessed. Now, of course, money can be a curse. You know, if you have a lot of money and you have, you know, a poor mindset, you know, or, you know, things like that, right? Because then you have a lot of money to do bad things. And, you know, and I've seen that happen as well. The classic thing with the lottery, you know, person, right? You know, someone wins the lottery. How often do we know that someone that wins the lottery, they win millions of dollars and they're broke 2 years later, right?
Yeah.
Because they had a broke mentality. You know, they didn't grow into that money. You know, if they had gone from making what they were making and slowly over years and years and years and years when they got to that money, then that's someone who could manage that because they would have grown. But to just hand it to someone, you know, that's going to be a curse 99% of the time, I think. You know, 99% of the time, you know, if you just hand it over, you know, and I think God made it that way, you know. I think God structured it right, you know. There's seed and harvest, right? It works. It always works. It always will work. You got to put in the work, put in the time, do the work, you know, and then you'll get the result, you know, if you just keep going, but don't ever forget why. You know, I have stuff in my office, even my mobile office here. You can't see it because it's not on camera, but I have stuff that reminds me of why it is. And I think about it every day. It's part of my morning ritual. It's part of my nighttime ritual. You know, every night when I say my prayers, I'm thankful for all the things, you know, and every morning when I wake up, you know, I'm speaking out, you know, all the things that I'm thankful for.
Reach it. Reach it.
Gratefulness, you know.
Yeah.
Especially at a time like this, right? Because right now, you know, this would be a good time to, you know, have a pity party, you know, if you want it.
Right.
I would tell you though, you know, and again, because this is the entrepreneur show, I love that name. It's so awesome. Like, the only thing I hate about that name is I didn't think of it because it's really, really cool. Love that name. This is the best time in history to start an online business.
Oh yeah.
So, you know, if you're watching this podcast and you don't have, you know, and it doesn't matter if it's a side hustle, right? And you want to make some extra money to pay some bills, great. You know, or if you want to change the world, right? You want to be Steve Jobs, you know, you want to be, you know, Elon Musk, right? Or anything in between. But there's never been a time better than today to start an online business. Everyone that I've ever met has a course in them. You know, that's why I said I teach a course on how to make courses, and coaches laugh about that, right? You know, and they'll start going, well, I'm going to make a course about how to make courses for course creator, you know, and it's a funny thing, but I'm like, yeah, but you know, this can change people's lives, right? I know it can because I've done it. So, you know, do a course or put up a store set up, you know, I can teach you how to set up an online store in an hour. I mean, literally right now, if you had a logo and some products, you know, I could have you live selling on the internet in less than an hour through multiple different ways. You know, it's never been easier. So, you know, don't not do it. You know, if you're on the Entrepreneur podcast and you own a business and you don't start one today, it's 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Start one at 8:31.
Right.
Start mapping out how to do it. And then the weird part about it is the problem with it is there's too many opportunities. It's not a lack of opportunities. Once you start realizing, you know, about, you know, online businesses, the problem is picking one you want to do because there's hundreds of different ways to do it. You know, hundreds of different ways. You know, pick something you're passionate about, something you have some aptitude in, something you have some knowledge, experience in, you know, and go for it. I have never met a person in person, and I'm not ever going to, that did not have a course inside of them. There's something that you know how to do. If you're watching this podcast, there's something that you know how to do, yes, that you could turn into a course and bless people with your knowledge and make some money from it. Period. And you don't have to have a degree. You don't have to have, you know, 20 years experience. You don't have to have 1,000 testimonials and reviews and all that kind of stuff. You just have to know how to do something that someone else needs to know how to do that's willing to pay for it.
Right.
And there's a million, you know, I have a paid course, right, where I teach you how to do it. But if you don't have money for that, don't buy my course. There's a million ones online for free. Just go do one. Just go do one. You know, go pick one from someone that knows, you know, looks like they know what they're doing, and start executing, and you'll make mistakes, and then you'll figure them out, because that is, I think, the true definition of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
An entrepreneur is someone who fails and just keeps failing. Fall, I get up.
That's like that. You hit it right on the nail, Stephen. You touched every aspect of it. Man,
we could talk all night.
I need you to drop your website, your social media handles. How can people connect with you? Because the information you're giving tonight, we're going to go back and watch, and we'll find more nuggets in it every single time.
I appreciate that.
Valuable.
Probably the easiest thing is just Facebook. It's my name. It's on the screen. You see it, but there's a B. My middle initial is B. Facebook, Stephen B. Floyd. I'm easy. If you type in Stephen Floyd, by the way, this is what I do for a living. If you type in Stephen Floyd, you're going to see me. You'll see Stephen Floyd, and then the auto complete will say SEO. I promise you. Go do it now. Go try it. Type in my name correctly, and the next thing you pop down is SEO. That's me. And you'll find my website and all my socials and all that kind of good stuff. But I do have, of course, a list, and I do, send out information and training and different things. And a lot of what I do is free. So I do a ton of free stuff. I have like 5 hours of free training on how to create a course. And I've got probably more than that on, how to do like SEO and SEO tips and stuff. So, and don't feel, nervous or whatever, send me a message. I get lots of them. Okay. So I'm not promising a reply. Don't get mad at me. Okay. I don't spend all day on whatever, but if you feel moved and feel like I can help you somehow, friend me on Facebook. I'm at the 5,000 limit, but I try to go through once a week and clear out some, right? So I can get some new ones. And I have a public figure page that, has infinite on it, right? A personal account, you can put in 5,000. So it's been mapped out forever, maxed out forever. But send me a message, and if I can, I will. Okay. People call me people send me a message on Facebook. Sometimes I'll get on a phone call with them. Okay. If I have the time, I'll do it. And like I said, people done it for me.
Yeah.
People done it for me. People that charge thousands of dollars an hour for consulting have gotten on and helped me for free. So, I'm gonna be a hypocrite if I don't do the same thing for you. So
I'm so glad we ran into each other, man. I'm very
me too.
Actually, that was probably the last time I hit the gym. Since I've been
I'm at the same point now with myself. I think I'm about to just start doing working out at home again. Right. And I something about working out outside. And I don't know if it's maybe primal or whatever, but I just feel better when I'm outside.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I'm very glad I ran into you too, though. I love doing these. I don't do enough. I haven't done a podcast in like 3 months or something. So
wow.
These are lots of fun. I love doing it. And like it's funny you said that about the time. The number one podcast, of course, as everybody knows, is
what? The pandemic?
Joe Rogan.
Oh, yeah, everybody.
Right. Now, and so people say, oh, Americans don't have an attention span. Oh, your ad's got to be this. Joe Rogan's podcast is 3 hours long.
Oh.
Almost every time.
Wow.
So people's attention span is not 10 seconds. It's 10 seconds for boring stuff.
Yeah.
Right? If you're talking about stuff that people care about, or they're interested in, you can do as long as you want. So, I think that, I think people should play around with that, play around with the, different times. I'm about to launch a podcast too, actually, here pretty soon. So I'm excited to join you. I'll probably call you and hit you up for some tips and tricks. I loved by the way, I just loved your process for, all the things that led up to me being a guest. Everything from when I said, I'd love to here, I'm stealing it, by the way. Just so I'll give you credit, but I'm stealing the whole process because it's good.
Oh, that's fine. You can.
I felt great. I felt great as like a guest. I felt great as a guest and felt like y'all, really, valued having me.
Oh yeah.
And that's how I want people that I want to, come on mine, to be. I want them to feel like I, treated them like, a super important person as they are, obviously.
Right.
If I'm gonna have more.
And that's one of the biggest cadence with my partner here, Jennifer, is that it's kind of like a two-way streak.
Yeah.
We get value, but we want to also make sure that you get value, and everyone who participates on the podcast, listens to it, watches it, that they get value as well. And so that's one of the cadence of why we're consistent with what we do is the value that's behind it. And this is stuff that you can't always read in books, because a lot of people are very audible. And so that's why when we do our podcast, not just visual, but we also do it on, we restream on Apple, Google, and all these other places. But it's the value that, people get out of it.
Well, I mean, I'm the same way. The reason why I'm starting a podcast is because I've realized how much consumption is occurring, on that channel. I had no idea till I started doing the research, but, and I'm probably an idiot. The first thing it led me to is I'm on podcasts, all like whenever I'm in my car, I'm in a podcast. When I'm at the gym, I start off with like worship music and stuff, but after that I'm on a podcast, and I'm like, well, if I'm on a podcast all the time, probably, lots of other people are too, right? So, I'm going to start. And the great thing too, of course, is that, a podcast is something you can multi-purpose into so much other content, especially a video one, right? You can take this podcast and turn it into 1,000 different things, right? And they're all good. So you can get the message out there, in a huge way, and I mean, somebody that's watching this, we changed their life. Somebody, I don't know who, did you watch it? Somebody
changed our life already.
It may be. Well, I know I'm blessed. I know I got blessed by it for sure. But I'm saying someone that's watching this or listening to it, so, not just one person. I'm not putting a lid on it, but I know at least one person, right? They're listening something might even been something that they heard 800 times before.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much about information is like that. That it's not the first time you heard it. It's not the 10th time you heard it. It was the timing. It was the 100th time you heard it, but the timing was right. So you actually executed right. And then that knowledge became, a blessing for you, and took it to the next level, Don't waste your time on podcasts. It's not going to help you, I used to have like 50, I'm not exaggerating, like all these shows I was subscribed to, and I realized I was only really watching like 5 of them, so I went and cut off the other 45, and there's an audience that this podcast is one of the 5. So, I'd encourage you, if you're listening to this podcast, you're watching this podcast, frequently, then, I'd look at some extra weight you might be able to cut off, how many do you have, right? Because go all in on the few that you have. Don't spread yourself over 8,000 of them.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, pick the ones, right? Because it's the ones, I mentioned, another podcast earlier before we were, filming, and that's one of the 5, but the reason why I picked it is because, forever I was listening to it here and there. It wasn't until I started listening to it every day, or, one of them is only once a week, but whatever schedule they had, and then I started, make that impact, make that impact, that's, don't get distracted. That's the problem with today, too much information, If you are an entrepreneur and, you need to have an entrepreneur podcast, right? Don't have 50 of them. You're going to get confused. Just have a few, right? If this one's speaking to you, if this one is one of the ones that you're watching, make it one of your 2 or 3, right? Get it all in one place. You're going to get much more value about it that way anyway, is what I'm saying. If you're trying to watch 100, it's not ever going to make, you're just not going to be part of the community, right? Go all in on the ones that you're in, and
Mr. SEO King, I appreciate you again, man. I'm going to have to decompress some of the knowledge that you dropped, man. But yeah, I definitely appreciate all the knowledge and all the advice and everything. And I know a lot of people will be blessed, not just by the podcast, but just by your presence, and everything, how you teach people. And so we definitely, we're looking forward to the replay and also just kind of, seeing your business and all your students grow. And hopefully we'll be able to kind of, talk to each other again soon.
Well, yeah, I would love to, once I start mine, of course, I'd love to have y'all on. And also too, I'm actually pretty well connected with some pretty big people. Mario, you don't know, but I'm actually connected with some pretty big people. So maybe, we can get some things going, but so take advantage of your network, people. Take advantage of your network, you take care of your network, and your network's going to take care of you. I don't know who said it, your network is your net worth, right? I think it was Jim Rohn again. Network is your net worth. It's the truth.
Yeah.
Don't be a little bit in on 1,000 things. Be all in on just a few things.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So but I'd love to come on again in the future, and I'd love to have y'all on mine. And like I said, I think I have a couple that I can probably hook y'all up with too. That I think that y'all would. It'd be a blessing for you to have these people on, and probably be a blessing for some different people to have you on.
Man,
right?
that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
True connector. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole thing. I want us all to win. You're right. I want us all to win. And we can help people and help entrepreneurs, and they're my favorite people. My favorite group. I love them. They're my tribe. I love entrepreneurs and people who help entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Thanks again. I don't remember writing this many notes during the thing. A couple of times I was looking down, I'm taking down stuff that you said. So thank you for that.
I appreciate it. It was a pleasure meeting you, and I'm looking forward to my t-shirt.
Yeah, I got you.
Got you.
Love the t-shirt. It's awesome. I love it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Well, everyone stay tuned for the next podcast. We definitely appreciate Mr. Floyd being here. And, until next time, have a great evening. Thank you.
Have a good evening, everybody. Bye.